Here's an evidence-based skincare routine that I use and recommend to my patients in the clinic, and it starts with some fundamentals, and then we'll move through some more additional advanced therapies. This way you can pick and choose the best mix for you when it comes to preventing and even reversing some of the signs of skin aging. So to combat skin aging effectively, it's important to understand what's driving it. Everyone knows that the sun can age our skin, but the key factors contributing to skin health go unaddressed because they're far less obvious. So researchers have divided the factors behind skin aging into two types. We've got intrinsic and extrinsic. So the sun is extrinsic. It's something coming from the outside, but there's more important intrinsic factors at work too. There are natural, genetically driven aging processes that unfold slowly as we get older, and several things are going on at once. So for instance, our cells age and their activity slows down. The fibroblasts, which make collagen and elastin, don't produce as much. The collagen is a critical protein that gives structure to our skin. The upper layer of the skin, the epidermis, thins out and the skin gradually loses its ability to retain moisture. And these changes, and others at a cellular level, produce the hallmarks of skin aging. So these include the loss of elasticity, firmness, and the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, dryness, and uneven coloration. And we already know the bad news. We can't stop the aging process, but here's the critical point. Our choices can have a massive impact about how slowly or quickly this process happens. Some environments promote healthy, youthful skin, and others do the opposite. So what do we need to pay attention to? Well, there are three fundamentals that have to do with the environment that we're creating within our bodies, and then we'll talk about what's happening from the outside next. So healthy skin starts from the inside. And by the way, these fundamentals don't just affect our skin, they're perhaps the three most important determinants of our overall health. So the first is diet. What you eat significantly impacts how your skin looks, and intriguingly, studies have found that eating more fruits and vegetables boosts how healthy and attractive our faces look. But let's explore this on a deeper level. How is diet linked to skin health? Well, part of the reason seems obvious. We know that we need adequate intakes of essential vitamins and minerals for healthy functions of any part of our body, but there are connections that are less obvious. So for instance, there's emerging data that's demonstrated the importance of gut health to our skin. So the foods that we eat balance the activity of bacteria in our digestive tract, and those in turn affect the delicate balance of microorganisms that live on our skin. So a poor diet can contribute to inflammation and reduced skin health. And even though we don't fully understand the mechanisms, the general pattern of healthy skin to a healthy diet is clear. And one detailed analysis takes a two-step approach. First, it draws on abundant existing research and it identifies a list of key nutrients linked to skin health. So it includes things like vitamin A, carotenoids, vitamin C, and polyphenols. So polyphenols are a diverse group of more than 8,000 compounds found in plants. The authors then offer some basic guidelines for dietary patterns that maximize our intakes of these key nutrients. Now, there's no surprise here. It ends up looking like the dietary pattern that's also best for our overall health. It means minimizing processed foods and getting lots of fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. It includes nuts and seeds, as well as lean protein. And some well-known examples include the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diets. Another survey of the literature adds that we also want to ensure adequate water intake and minimize refined sugars. Now let's narrow our focus a bit from overall dietary patterns. So there are some key nutrients that study evidence connects to markers of skin health and aging. So one is collagen peptides. A meta-analysis in 2023 looked at 26 randomized controlled trials of collagen peptide supplements, and the authors conclude that they significantly improve skin hydration and elasticity. Then there's hyaluronic acid. It's a natural compound found especially in our skin, joints, and eyes, and its standout features is its ability to retain moisture. It's like a sponge with incredible capacity. So just a quarter teaspoon of hyaluronic acid can absorb 1.5 gallons of water, and it provides critical structural support in our skin. It keeps it plump, hydrated, and smooth. And various studies have shown that hyaluronic acid supplements can help counter the effects of the natural decline in the substance as we age. So for instance, a 2021 study that was published in the European Journal of Dermatology found that it decreased wrinkles by 18.8% with hyaluronic acid supplements compared to a non-significant reduction of 2.6% in the placebo group. A larger 2023 study of 129 people again demonstrated skin benefits from hyaluronic acid supplements, and because of that study evidence, I included both collagen peptides and hyaluronic acid in Microvitamin Plus powder to help boost my skin health. But just because I take a supplement does not in any way mean that you should as well. Now, after getting our diet in order, the next priority for our skin health ought to be exercise. So several studies have found positive impacts for exercise on skin health parameters, but a recent study is particularly interesting. It compared the impacts of aerobic to resistance training, and it also goes below the surface to see how exercise changes factors that are circulating in our blood that relate to skin health. The study involved healthy, middle-aged women who weren't already exercising. They were placed on a 16-week exercise plan. Half of them did aerobic exercise, and the other half focused on resistance training. Researchers found that skin elasticity and the structure of the skin improved significantly for both groups, but there was a distinct benefit for the resistance training group. They also saw improvements in the thickness of their skin. This is significant in the context of aging, since skin naturally thins out as we get older. And what about how exercise changed factors in the blood related to our skin? Well, in both groups, it markedly boosts the activation of genes related to the creation of collagen, hyaluronic acid, and other important aspects of skin function. Here again, the effects differed a little bit. So aerobic training and resistance training, they overlapped in their effects, but they made up unique contributions. So overall, the study shows us that combining both types of exercise is critical for maximum benefit for our skin. And after eating right and exercising, there's one more key factor that helps to protect our skin from the inside out. Of course, it's sleep. But why is it so important? Well, for one thing, during sleep, the body focuses on repair and regenerative processes. So for instance, the repair of our skin cells and DNA damage appears to peak at night, and poor sleep quality and duration are linked to increases in signs of skin aging. So one study found that good sleepers had significantly lower scores on a measure of skin aging, but poor sleepers, they lost more moisture through their skin. They also recovered more slowly from UV radiation. And another study found that even just 2 nights of restricted sleep led to the loss of moisture, reduced elasticity, and increased oxidative stress. So far we've looked at the essential factors that help us counteract the effects of skin aging from the inside out, and what happens on the outside is equally as important, especially the first thing that we're going to look at, which is the essential product for many skincare routines. It combats what one estimate says generates about 80% of facial aging. It's the enemy of youthful skin, and that is UV radiation from the sun. So daily use of sunscreen is an essential way to protect ourselves from its damage, and it can have a dramatic impact. So for example, here's a striking photo of a 92-year-old woman who used sunscreen on her face, but not her neck for over a 40-year time period. And in a landmark trial in 2013, it involved 903 adults, and the group who used sunscreen every day, they didn't show any signs of new skin aging after 4.5 years. And a follow-up study in 2016 showed that using sunscreen not only stops skin aging, but it can even reverse some of the signs of skin aging. But there is a downside to sunscreen. Many of the ingredients used for chemical sunscreens can be absorbed through the skin, and a study in 2020 showed that all 6 tested active ingredients were absorbed into the blood at levels above the FDA safety thresholds. The study didn't show harm from these chemicals, it just shows that they're absorbed at higher quantities than the pre-existing safety thresholds. Now, is that something to worry about? Well, the problem is that presently, the evidence is unclear, and personally, I don't want to be putting chemicals in my body when we aren't sure what their long-term effects might be. So this is particularly true when we've got some reasons to suspect that they aren't good. Now, there is an alternative to chemical-based sunscreens, and that's mineral-based formulas. And the 2 most common ingredients used here is zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Now, these compounds aren't absorbed through the skin, and this lack of absorption has led the authors of a 2024 study to conclude that mineral sunscreens are safest and have the fewest potential adverse effects. But there are also newer chemical sunscreen ingredients that are superior to previous options. So one of the more recent is one called triazorb. So this is a chemical that's got 2 very attractive qualities. So first, it does absorb UV radiation across a wide spectrum. And second, it's a relatively large particle size. So it means that it doesn't actually penetrate through the skin. It can't get into our bloodstream. And there are many of these newer ingredients, such as bemetrizanol. So again, bemetrizanol is also a large particle size. It doesn't get absorbed through the skin. But unfortunately, these newer chemical sunscreen ingredients, they aren't available everywhere. Now, I'm lucky enough to live in New Zealand. I've got access to these sunscreens that don't have any of the 12 FDA-flagged ingredients, which I'll show on screen now. But instead, they use newer chemical ingredients like bemetrizanol. Now, there are 4 famous Korean brands, and I'm not affiliated with any of them, that are great options, and I'll put on the screen now. Now, the one I'm using at the moment is Beauty of Joseon, but any of those 4 options would be a great choice. And if I didn't have access to those sunscreens, I'd use CeraVe 100% mineral sunscreen SPF 50. It's got both titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, but none of the 12 flagged ingredients by the FDA. But whatever type you choose, it's important to pick a sunscreen that's got broad spectrum protection. It means it guards against the skin against both UVA and UVB radiation. And when it comes to sunscreen protection factor, or SPF, we want to shoot for at least 50 for maximum effectiveness. And after sunscreen, the next product in my skincare routine is a moisturizer. And as the name implies, these compounds improve skin hydration and may also help to restore the skin's natural barrier function and reduces moisture loss from within. And when I'm looking for a moisturizer, I want to look for one that's got ceramides in it, and they've been gaining a lot of clinical support for their effectiveness. So these are fatty substances that act like mortar between skin cell bricks and the outer layer of our skin, and studies have found that ceramides are helpful in protecting from damage and increasing hydration. So one example, subjects with dry skin saw a 30.6% increase in water content in their skin on their legs in just 3 days. So I use CeraVe PM Facial Moisturizer. It includes ceramides and it also includes vitamin B3, which can help to reduce inflammation and improve texture, among other benefits. So I apply that as well as my sunscreen in the morning. So sunscreen and moisturizers, they help to protect and preserve our skin. And there are 2 other additional products in my skincare routine that play a more active role in rejuvenating skin. So the first is a medication in the form of an essential vitamin. So remember, a key reason for skin aging is the breakdown of collagen, and that happens both because of damage as well as a natural result of aging. And this medication addresses the problem in 2 ways. So first, it blocks the breakdown of collagen by the sun's UV rays, and second, it helps to stimulate the creation of new collagen. And these 2 effects work together to push back powerfully against the signs of skin aging. So what is this impressive medication? Well, it's actually a group of compounds called retinoids, which are related to vitamin A. So think of retinoids like personal trainers for our skin. So just like how the trainer helps us to get stronger, retinoids push our skin cells to work harder, helping them renew and make more collagen. Retinoids also strengthen the skin's protective barrier and reduce water loss. They stop enzymes from breaking down the skin support structure. Now, the oldest and most widely studied is tretinoin. It was first used to treat acne, but patients soon started to notice what seemed to help in the appearance of skin in general. It even helped with signs of skin aging, and it was approved by the FDA in the US for that purpose, and plenty of research has shown its effectiveness. So one massive meta-analysis looked at 180 individual studies on tretinoin, and it reported that topical use helped improve the signs of photoaging in terms of wrinkling, uneven coloration, and age spots in as little as 1 month of use. And though it works really well, in some people they're very sensitive to tretinoin, and they can experience skin irritation, redness, and dryness, especially when they first start using it. And this drawback has led to the development of what is called third-generation retinoids, which carry a distinct advantage. So the reason why is that they act on our skin in a highly targeted way. So this means that they cause less skin irritation, but they're still just as effective. And adapalene is the most commonly used third-generation retinoid. But does that mean we have to sacrifice effectiveness? Well, a head-to-head trial in 2018 set out to see if these newer generation retinoids work just as well as older, proven tretinoins. And the results? Well, the studies concluded that adapalene was just as good as tretinoin in reducing the signs of skin aging. So how do we use retinoids? Well, it's important to note that it's recommended to use them at night because they can cause irritation and increase our sensitivity to the sun. Plus, retinoids can degrade in sunlight, making them ineffective. So I always use sunscreen during the day, along with retinoid treatments at night. And also, retinoid use is not recommended during pregnancy. And when first starting to use retinoids, it's a good idea to use it every 2nd or 3rd day and just allow the body to get used to it, and you can slowly build up till nightly use. And I build on the effects of retinoids by adding one last type of product to my skincare routine, and that is exfoliants. So the purpose of these is to remove dead skin cells from the skin surface and also help to stimulate the renewal process. Personally, I use the exfoliants lactic acid and glycolic acid, and over time, they increase skin turnover and stimulate collagen and elastin to grow, making fine lines less noticeable. And the popularity of exfoliants is based on studies like this one, when they used lactic acid and it increased skin firmness, thickness, and improved smoothness and the appearance of lines and wrinkles. Now, both alpha and beta hydroxy acids, they remove dead skin cells and promote skin renewal. So I use 2 products from Paula's Choice. One has got 2% salicylic acid and the other contains 8% glycolic acid. Now, for most people at my clinic, we recommend against using retinoid creams at the same time as these exfoliants, as it will significantly inflame the skin. Now, for whatever reason, my skin is fine with mixing both the exfoliants and the retinoid creams together, so I use both every night, but that's not standard practice. Instead, at the clinic, I encourage my patients to begin using one or the other on separate nights. But now it's time to have a look at advanced treatments for skin aging that is able to produce the most dramatic results in the shortest amount of time. Now, the first category is light therapy, and there's a bit of an irony here. As we've already noted, UV light from the sun is responsible for more skin aging than anything else, but we can also use light at precise frequencies to rejuvenate the skin. Now, some of these older technologies go back decades. So for instance, ablative lasers are an aggressive treatment that removes the top layer of the skin while also stimulating changes at a deeper level. And over time, we've developed newer technologies that are a bit less aggressive and have got fewer side effects and less downtime. So one example here is non-ablative fractional lasers. So let me break down both parts of this description. So non-ablative means that they don't remove the surface of the skin, it stays intact. Instead, the lasers penetrate below the surface and heat the tissue to promote changes like increased collagen production. They work by causing minor damage and stimulating the body's healing process, and when it's carefully targeted, it can renew skin. But what about the fractional part? Well, scientists have developed a novel approach where the laser treats columns of skin separated by places that are left untreated. So these are called fractional lasers because only a fraction of the skin's surface area is treated. So with this approach, there's less total damage or stress on the skin, and the untreated skin near the treated areas spreads healing and recovery. So I get fractional, non-ablative treatments done about every 6 months. And then there's intense pulse light, or IPL. Now, lasers emit primarily one specific wavelength of light, but in contrast, IPL treatment uses a broad spectrum of light. It targets freckles, age marks, and small blood vessels called telangiectasias in the skin, and is particularly effective for that last one, which is a common problem in aged skin by the sun, and the downtime with this treatment is minimal. So I get IPL treatment done about every 4 months. Another strategy I use is red light therapy, which is skyrocketing in popularity. So it uses LEDs to produce red and near-infrared light. So why red light? Well, research has shown that it's capable of several powerful effects. So for one thing, red light is absorbed by the mitochondria, again the powerhouses of our cells, and that stimulates more energy production and enhanced cellular activity. So red light also combats inflammation. Moreover, it stimulates fibroblasts, and remember, those are the specialized cells that are responsible for making collagen and elastin. So we've got clinical evidence that red light therapy, it stimulates important changes in the skin related to healing and rejuvenation. So red light therapy, again using LEDs, has some big advantages over laser therapy. For one, there's no downtime, there's no damage to the skin, and the equipment needed is much less expensive, and you can do it at home. But what clinical evidence do we have that this therapy actually works? Because it sounds a bit bizarre that just by shining red light onto our skin, we can improve our skin health. Well, one study published in 2023 examined the impact of red and amber light. So this split-phase trial included 137 women. They got 10 sessions of amber and red light for 4 weeks. They used one color on the right side of the face and the other on the left. Wrinkle reduction with red light was about 31.6%, and with amber, it was 29.9%. So I'm relatively new to this therapy and I'm experimenting with a red light device at home, and I'll let you know my results shortly. Now, the last thing that we'll talk about involves another irony. So a substance that's actually a toxin can have a powerful rejuvenating effect on our skin when used in a particular way. This toxin works by interfering with the signals that tell our muscles to contract, and when used cosmetically, is given as an injection, and it relaxes targeted muscles in the face. That in turn can significantly reduce the appearance of wrinkles, and it can help to prevent wrinkles from developing. So of course I'm talking about Botox, and the advantages here is that it's quick, it's minimally invasive, and it can produce substantial results. Plus, when used correctly, it's safe. I get Botox done about once every 4 months, but I want to return to the topic of exercise. So here in this video, we've talked about how it relates to skin health, but in the next video here, I'll reveal some amazing numbers from a new study about how it relates to our physical abilities. You'll find out how adults in their late 60s who exercised compared to those in their 20s who don't.